South Korea is famous for its delicious food. Except these days, your meal might come with an extra pop of flavor.
So I accidentally stumbled into this restaurant and I was not expecting this.
For the uninitiated, the faces plastered on every available surface of this restaurant are of the K-pop supergroup BTS. Since their debut in 2013, they've gone on to become one of the biggest music acts in the world.
여기 그 식당에 그 BTS 사진을 왜 이렇게 많이 있어요?
여기 BTS가 데뷔하기 전에 연습생 시절에 이 지하실에서 연습했어.
그래서 많이
여기 가서 밥 먹었어.
아.
4년. 그래서 이 아미들이 이렇게 갖다 이렇게 꾸며놨어.
In K-pop, fans use a specific lingo. Singers are called idols, and different groups of fans have different names. For BTS, it's the ARMY, and these ladies are top-tier generals.
제이홉, 지민, RM, 남준이,
V,
정국이,
no, 정국, 진,
슈가,
V.
피, 크영.
I know all the names.
생일도 얘가 이제는 12월 30일, 슈가가 오늘, 정국이가 9월 1일, 지민이가 10월 13일. 내 핸드폰에 다 입력이 돼.
진짜요? 와, 네, 진짜 재밌어요. 그 BTS 이렇게 좋아하는 이유가 뭐예요?
연습생 시절부터 그렇게 좋았어요. 애들이 10번 보면 10번 다 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요.
그렇게 하고 인성이 좋은 거야.
착했어요?
인성.
아직도 착해요?
아유 그럼 정말 쉽지 않지. 지금 높은 데까지 다 올라갔는데 자기네가 그렇게 겸손할 수가 없지. 응? 그건 정말 뭐라 해야 되나 정말 그런 애들이 없는 거예요. 그러니까 대한민국을 알린 건 최고지. 그리고 대한민국보다도 세계를 이렇게 떠들썩한 건 방탄뿐이 없을 거예요.
네. She just gave me some gifts so I can live out my BTS ARMY dreams. It's frankly amazing how much pride BTS has given Koreans.
And it's not just BTS that has taken over the world, it's Korean culture. From K-pop to K-dramas to K-beauty, the KWave has surged into a global phenomenon over the last 2 decades and is now making billions for the Korean economy.
As a Korean American myself, I'm still not used to this kind of newfound love of Korean culture. So I'm trying to figure out what's the key to this global success and does it come at a cost?
I am Joi Lee. I'm a journalist from the US and I'm in South Korea, armed with my limited Korean to reconnect with the motherland. In this episode, I find out how the K-wave is changing Korea.
I had always loved K-pop, but I never thought that was at all an option.
I pull back the curtains on the industries behind its success.
기스신 진하던데.
지금 윤빈한테 질투해요?
Should I make a cameo appearance?
And I see the toll success takes on the very stars who keep the K-wave going.
우울증이랑 공황장애가 있어서 사람을 못 만나겠더라고요. 사람을 못 만나겠으니까 대중교통도 힘들고.
어찌 보면은 우리 연예인들이 한국 사회에서도 스트레스를 많이 받아요.
이분이 자꾸 전화하고 그래갖고 담당 수사관한테는 전화했거든요.
자살까지도 연결이 되는 거거든요.
In Korea, the K-wave is known as the Hallyu. There are officially more than 100 million Hallyu fans worldwide, with fan clubs in countries as far away as Egypt and Russia. It's so big that a new type of fan has emerged, the koreaboo. Foreigners who venerate Korean culture so much that some even move here. I meet one of them in the fashionable district of Hongdae to find out why these fans would upend their whole lives for Korea.
the first time for me, like a Midwest, country bum,
Right.
like I walked into one of these stores and just like, where do I even start,
This is Carl, also known as Kwon Min-gyu. He moved here 6 years ago, and one of the first things he learned was when in Korea, you've got to groom as the Koreans do.
Before, I'd barely wash my face, I wouldn't put moisturizer on, and now, there are times I'll spend 2 hours at night doing a skin routine. I'm like, this is not where I would have seen myself, as a high schooler in Wisconsin, Minnesota.
So what triggered your interest in Korean culture and language?
It was K-pop for me, actually.
Yeah?
And there was a period where I wanted to be an idol in Korea, and so that's when I started, learning Korean. I actually came to Korea and I just wanted to stay in Korea.
그래서 그 한국말로 조금 자기 소개를 해도 돼요?
자기소개요? 네. 안녕하세요. 전 한국외국어대학교 일본학과 17학번 권민규라고 합니다. 반갑습니다.
Wow. Did you just hear that? I've been living my whole life trying to learn Korean. That's amazing.
The latest census reveals there are over 2.5 million foreign residents in South Korea, the most this country has ever seen. As for how many actually came here to make their Hallyu dreams come true, no one really knows, but I'd guess it's a lot.
So you mentioned earlier this term koreaboos. Would you consider yourself one?
A koreaboo, broadly speaking, it's somebody who has a lot of interest in Korean culture, but I think these days it's become more of a derogatory term for foreigners in general who have this kind of weird fantasy about Korea. There was probably a time where I would be considered a koreaboo, but now I'm just like, I don't know, I don't think I'm a koreaboo now, but...
What changed?
I just kind of grew up, I think. Once you come here and then you experience the culture, you start to see it as a real place as opposed to like this image on a screen. I do have a question though, like, you're a Korean American, right?
Yeah.
So when you see someone like me, like I come to Korea and then like I'm clearly just entirely white and then I start using a Korean name, is there kind of like a, huh? Like,
I mean, there is definitely that moment where it's like, it's weird because, part of me is like very protective of the Korean culture just because it's something that I was so used to being ashamed of when I was growing up. So I think there's definitely a sense of like, I mean, you guys made fun of me for so long about this. Why do you suddenly get to decide that it's cool, right? But then on the other hand, it's like finally there's this moment where the tides have changed and who has the right and who has ownership over these things anyway. I don't feel like I can claim ownership over what Korea is and what Korean means because I only have the right to define my relationship to Korea and no one else's.
right. When I first started using the name Kwon Min-gyu, like I said, I was in high school, and so like I didn't really think much about that. And now recently, I've been really thinking about like my relationship to Korea. I've basically spent my entire adult life in Korea. But at the same time, no matter what I do, just looking at me, I don't belong here. I don't like belong here.
Do you think there's ever a possibility that in the future you will feel fully embraced by the Korean people?
Possibly. I don't know. Koreans really love it when foreigners are interested in their culture and when they're interested in their language and stuff, so.
And actually making the effort.
Yeah.
Right. Should we check out one of those photo booths?
Yeah, it sounds like fun.
Are you comfortable enough with Korean to
Oh,
be
yeah.
Korean?
Yeah.
Oh. When I was about to meet Carl, I was immediately suspicious. I can't help it.
There you go.
Part of me wants to protect Korean culture because for so long, I felt like everybody was making fun of my Asianness. But I realized even if there is that kind of nefarious side to a koreaboo and their superficial attraction to Korea, there can be a genuine interest in Korean culture. And it makes me feel proud as well, to see that people are starting to be interested in Korea for Korea itself.
Koreaboo or not, fans like Carl are a testament to just how far South Korea has come. In less than a century, it's gone from a country devastated by foreign occupation, a war, and a brutal dictatorship to one of the world's largest economies. And now with the KWave, it's also one of the most culturally influential. To understand how this new soft power has changed the country, I meet with Dr. Lee Ji-young, a professor of media philosophy who's spent the last decade studying the Hallyu.
So like right now, does Korea's soft power translate into political power?
Yeah, maybe. 정치적이라는 말이 그 현실 정치인들이 하는 것만이 정치적인 게 아니고 사실은 그것 자체가 지금 세상이 이전처럼 늘 미국, 백인, 남성, 영어 사용하는 사람이 중심이 되고 나머지는 다 부수적이고 주변적인 인물로 이렇게 계층화되었었던 이 전 세계 질서가 제가 이런 이제 방탄이 막 성공하면서 이걸 보면서 느끼는 게 어쩌면 이 억압적인 구조 자체를 우리가 무너뜨릴 수도 있겠다. 니네만이 정상이고 니네만이 표준이 아니다라는 걸 방탄소년단과 그다음에 그들의 팬들이 계속해서 보여주고 있거든요.
And how has that impacted Korean society?
그 상처나고 빼앗겼던 자존감을 좀 많이 되찾는 과정이 아닐까라고 생각이 들어요. 제가 생각했을 때는 그 일본 식민지에서 이제 해방된 이후로, 그러니까 20세기 중반 이후로 어떻게 보면 한국인들에게 그 열등감 같은 것들이 좀 존재하지 않았나. 물론 그렇기 때문에 막 BTS가 미국에서 엄청나다 막 얘기를 해도 사람들이 안 믿어요, 처음에. 에이, 진짜?
설마.
아, 설마? 언론에서 막 뻥치기 하는 거 아니야? 그런 것들에서 이제 서서히 벗어나게 되지 않았을까. 그리고 우리가 하는 것에 대한 좀 자신감을 갖게 돼서 앞으로는 더 좋아지지 않을까라고 생각을 하고.
Of course, of course.
In 2020, the Ministry of Culture launched its Hallyu Support and Cooperation Division to capitalize on Korea's newfound soft power. And why not? The KWave has done the impossible and penetrated the once sacred bastions of Western pop culture, most notably winning the Best Picture Oscar for the film Parasite in 2020 and Best Supporting Actress for Yoon Ye-jung the following year. But as the Hallyu continues to capture hearts and minds around the world, more and more foreigners are coming here for a chance at riding the K-Wave themselves.
자, 그러면은 오늘은 이제 한국 생활에 대해서 이제 공부를 하는데
What would the K mean then if the people in it are not Korean? With K-pop taking over the world, becoming an idol is a dream that many now chase. And if you're not Korean, there are now specialized K-pop academies that can help you become a star. I visit one of them to find out how far foreign wannabes are willing to go for their dream.
자, 그러면은 오늘은 이제 한국 생활에 대해서 이제 공부를 하는데
Currently enrolled here is 21-year-old Japanese student Shinoa Yamashita.
이거를 보통 이제 여러 가지 이름이 있는데 보통 아빠가 이렇게 앉고 엄마는 보통 다리를 이렇게 앉잖아. 그래서 아빠 다리라고 하기도 하고 다리가 다리.
The highly polished world of K-pop is no accident. The stars you see on YouTube are the products of an intense factory-like system that trains wannabes to dance, sing, and in this case, speak like Korean pop stars. Training can take a few months or a few years, and only a handful get to graduate as idols.
한국에 온 지 얼마나 됐어요?
3주간이 됐어요.今、アコピアさんでお世話になるのが一応6ヶ月っていう期間でお世話になるっていうのを決めていて、 一応そのコースのゴールは練習生になることですね。
Yes, you heard that right. Shinoa is not a trainee, but a trainee wannabe.
そのいろんな事務所のオーディション、練習生のオーディションを受けるつもりです。
And throughout all your training, what's the hardest part?
基本的に、長くダンスとか歌とかを習ってきていないので、まず追いつくことが一番自分の中で今課題になっています。
To me, it's extraordinary that schools for trainee wannabes even exist.
오케이. 얘들아 이거 할 때 여기를 잡아야 돼. 이렇게 여기 잡지 말고 이렇게.
But it proves how powerful the K-pop influence is, especially when it can lure someone like Shinoa away from her own country's equally lucrative J-pop industry. So, am I K-pop material?
Getting my dancing shoes on.
원, 투, 쓰리, 포. 그치? 근데 너무 딱딱하게 하지 않고 약간 이렇게.
She told me not to be so stiff.
투, 쓰리, 스탑, 파이브, 식스, 세븐.
Sorry. My balance. I can do this. Okay.
에이. 오케이, 잘했어.
I think I'll stick with my day job. But I can see the appeal of the K-pop system to foreigners like Shinoa. Train hard enough and you might just make it.
Have you noticed a rise in the number of foreign trainees?
네, 지금 많이 체감하고 있고요. 한 몇 년 전보다 올해 더 많이 점점 학생 수가 늘고 있는 것 같습니다.
Do you think Koreans are receptive of foreign trainees and foreign idols?
네, 예전보다는 점점 K-pop 그룹 안에서도 외국인 멤버들이 되게 더 많아지고 있고, 뭐 트와이스나 뭐 에버글로우 막 이런.
In the last few years, the K in K-pop has expanded, with idols hailing from countries like Japan, China, and Thailand. The K-pop dream is now more accessible than ever to anyone willing to work for it.
Do you think as a foreigner it makes it harder for you to become successful in K-pop?
そこまで深く悩むことはないのかなって思っちゃってます。まず自分が何を目指して動いているかというと、それはより多くの人に必要としてもらえる、価値を感じてもらえる、そんな人間になりたいと思ってるんですけど、楽しさを与えて、で別に韓国に来るっていうことが苦にならないくらいには、その夢のおかげで強い意志を持ててると思っています。
It's pretty crazy that it's not just kids here in Korea who are dreaming to become K-pop stars. It's now people all over the world like Shinoa. It's like they can see better versions of themselves reflected in this idol culture. It doesn't matter if you actually have the skill sets like dancing or singing. If you work hard enough, you might become an idol that everybody can look up to.
But the dream of becoming an idol comes with a catch. All successful Korean idols have been Asian or Korean passing. South Korea remains largely homogenous. A staggering 97.6% of the population are of Korean origin. I go on a virtual dinner date with a formal idol to find out if there is any space to break away from this mold.
So do you have the same dish on your end as well? What are you eating on your end?
Kimchi mandu.
Kimchi mandu. Hello. Look.
안녕하세요. 저는 알렉스입니다.
Alex Reed was South Korea's first black idol. In 2015, she joined the pop group Ranya, but is now back in the US after 2 years with them.
Before you came to Korea, what were you doing before you were a K-pop star?
I had gotten a major record deal and doing like this pop R&B sound that they wanted me to do. I had always loved K-pop, but I never thought that was at all an option. Then I just like randomly in the studio got scouted and was like, are you serious?
That's so wild.
Yeah, I think it was about 10 days before I debuted. So it was crazy.
So what do you think was the motivation for the recruitment agency to bring you on board, even though you are a foreigner and, you don't speak Korean?
I think that the CEO of the company has always been a real forward thinker. He actually pointed out to me, without me saying anything, how much K-pop is influenced by Black culture. And he said that it's like, we have Black songwriters, we have Black producers. Why shouldn't we have a Black idol? Let's do it.
As K-pop's only Black idol, Alex became the new face of Rania, appearing front and center in promotional posters and album covers. But when it came to the real work, Alex found herself sidelined.
Like, you would perform, and after 1 minute, you'd be sitting in the corner or standing in the corner.
There's a lot of things looking back that don't exactly make sense. I think that the CEO was just so excited to do this that as soon as they found me, it was like, throw her in the mix, and everybody was just kind of left on their heels trying to make it work. And that's why sometimes it's like, let's just put her in here. It was just a lot of moving parts, But then when I look back, it's like, I just feel so blessed that I get to hear every day people coming up to me and being like, oh my gosh, you inspired me. I applied to a K-pop company. How many chances in life do you get to touch that many people?
That's beautiful.
As complicated as it was, Alex's time as Korea's first Black idol offered an optimistic promise of a more inclusive future for K-pop. But in the 4 years since she left, not much has changed. There are few non-Asian K-pop idols working in Korea right now, 2 of whom are in Alex's old group, now rebranded as Black Swan. Senegalese Fatou Samba
안녕하세요. 블랙스완 파티입니다. 반갑습니다.
and Brazilian-Japanese Leia.
안녕하세요. 저 블랙스완 막내 레아입니다. 반갑습니다. 안녕하세요. 블랙스완입니다.
It's unclear to me if K-pop will ever be ready for more non-Asian idols, or if it even wants them.
Part of me wonders, is this all just really a ploy by the K-pop industry to attract outsiders in order to expand its marketing influence around the world, selling the promise of a dream and dangling it in front of a lot of foreign hopefuls who will likely never really get that chance to succeed?
But what's clear is the global influence of the KWave, and it's now got another weapon in its arsenal for total world domination.
너무 멋있어요. I'm fangirling real hard right now.
As some of the most connected people in the world, South Koreans spend more than 4 hours a day on their phones. And chances are they're reading the K-Wave's latest hit, Webtoons, South Korean comics made for the digital age. To understand why they're such a big deal, I meet with Park Kyunglan, the creator, writer, and illustrator of Kakao Entertainment's Imitation, one of the hottest webtoons right now.
보통 시작할 때는 진짜 이런 식으로 해가지고 먼저 잡아요, 대충. 이렇게 해가지고 이런 구도로 좀 해야겠다?
아, 진짜 빨리 하는 거예요. 저는 어렸을 때 저도 이거 카툰 드라잉 하고 싶었어요. 그래서 궁금한 거 많이 있어요. 어떻게 하는지. I'm fangirling real hard right now. So in contrast to comics and manga, what exactly is a webtoon?
연출 방식이 많이 바뀌었죠. 한마디로 만화는 컷과 이렇게 종이를 넘기는 이런 간극이 되게 중요했다면 웹툰은 이렇게 스크롤을 이렇게 내렸을 때 오는 가 변하고 사람들이 많이 쓰는 기기가 변하고 그러면서 이제 만화가 다른 형태로 바뀐 거라고 생각을 해요.
And that vertical format, delivered in snack-sized chapters, easy to read on the go, make Korea's Webtoon revolution an instant hit worldwide.
So I'm wondering, what's the key to success? What makes a good webtoon?
일단 로맨스 부분을 많이 좋아해 주시고요. 독자분들께서 이렇게 많이 감상을 주셨을 때 좋아하시는 부분은 아무래도 일단 로맨스.
Imitation tells the story of Lee Maha, a fledgling idol who starts off as a copy of a more famous pop star, but then grows to become her own person and eventually a star. And it features all the trappings of a popular webtoon. A great romance, even a love triangle between its main characters Maha, Ryuk, and Yujin.
여기 유진이 이렇게
유진,
네.
맨날 love triangle 있어요.
좀 긴장감이 있죠. 그러면 아무래도 얘도 긴장을 하게 되죠.
맞아요.
얘가 있어야 얘가 긴장을 해요.
맞아요. What are some of the responses that you've gotten when people have read Imitation?
가끔 이제 공감돼서 울었다고 하시는 것도 되게 기뻐요. 그냥 자기 자신을 인정하고 거기서 자기만의 행복을 찾는 그런 걸로 좀 전하고 싶었어요. 그냥 굳이 다른 사람을 따라하지 않아도 나 자신만으로도 나는 가치가 있다? 이런 감상을 받으면 좀 해냈다는 느낌이라고 해야 되나? 예.
Imitation is considered as one of South Korea's most successful webtoons. And these days, that means getting the K-drama treatment. Some of the biggest K-dramas started as webtoons, from Itaewon Class to What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. And Imitation is on track to be a hit. It boasts a star-studded cast of popular K-idols and K-drama veterans, all of whom I'm about to see on set.
So we're on set for Imitation. This is my first time being on set for a Korean drama. I'm more excited than I thought I would be.
Compared to the calm of making a webtoon, this is a frenzy of TV with over 150 people on deck to bring one drama to life.
I think this is the rehearsal of a scene, and obviously there's a lot of hustle and bustle going on behind me.
Today, they're filming a scene with former idol turned actor Danny On, who plays Maha's protective manager, Jihak. He also runs a cafe, but that's another story.
지수를 잘못 찾으셨네요. 여기까지 커피 맛을 보신 건 아닐 테고.
왜 이러세요?
Should I make a cameo appearance? Just kidding, that'd be rude.
The K-drama industry is a $20 billion money-making machine that produces over 100 new dramas a year. I meet with the actor starring as Maha to understand how webtoons are changing the industry.
기스신 진하던데.
지금 윤빈한테 질투해요?
아니? 질투는 무슨...
You might recognize her as a love-struck schoolgirl in the Oscar-winning film Parasite.
안녕하세요.
I really loved Maha's character, so I'm really excited to see it. I'm curious, do you read webtoons?
네.
네?
저는 이제 처음으로 웹툰 원작으로 한 드라마를 접해봤는데 배우로서 하고 싶은 캐릭터가 웬만하면 저는 한정돼 있었어요. 근데 요즘 정말 다양한 웹툰이 많이 나오고 있기 때문에 제가 하고 싶은 역할의 스펙트럼이 많이 넓어지는 것 같아요, 배우로서. 재미난 역할을 할 수 있는 것 같아서 좋은 것 같아요, 웹툰을 원작으로 한다는 게.
Yeah, I totally get that. Thank you for your hard work.
감사합니다.
감사합니다.
오늘은 여기까지. 급한 일이 생겨. 어느 병원인데요?
Being on set, it's hard not to be taken by the glamour of showbiz.
That's so cool.
But as the KWave gains more popularity worldwide, so does the pressure on Korea to sustain it. And it's taken a toll. A spate of shocking suicides by some of Korea's biggest stars has shown a spotlight on the human cost of the entertainment industry's success. To understand these pressures celebrities face, I meet with Korea's favorite counselor to the stars. Kwon Young-chan used to be a celebrity comedian, but now he uses his star power to advocate for mental health.
인생은 그렇게 쉽지 않다는 거. 제가 항상 느끼는 건 뭐예요? 행복하십시오. 자, 사랑합니다. 좋은 하루 되시고요. 그리고 이왕이면 인생을 즐기십시오.
I join him at the end of a session with one of his clients, comedian Kim Jin.
What kind of clients do you typically have, and how many clients do you have?
사실은 그러다 보니까 한 300분 이상 정도는 되죠. 어찌 보면은 우리 연예인들이 한국 사회에서도 스트레스를 많이 받아요. 그러면은 그 사람의 아픈 마음을 담아주고 또 결론적으로는 이걸 어떻게 이겨내고.
그래서 김진 선생님.
네.
Well, when was the point that you decided you needed help?
그리고 왜냐면 그 어느 정도 잘 되고 위치가 있는 연예인들은 느낄 수 없는 그 또 우울증이 있습니다. TV만 봐도 막 스트레스가 오는 거예요. 아, 나 잘할 수 있는데. 아, 나 저 역할 할 수 있는데. 아, 저거밖에 못하나.
잘 나가면 잘 나가서 누군가 치고 들어올까 해서 스트레스 받고, 또 일이 없으면 이게 또 생활고가 있기 때문에, 그러니까 대부분의 연예인들은 우리 김진 씨 마음이 그렇고.
컴피티션 많이.
네. 대한민국 땅에서는 왜냐면 자꾸 경쟁을 만들어요. 쟤 몇 위 했어? 몇 위 했어?
그래가지고 이제 선배님을 만났죠. 아, 나 이제 미칠 것 같다. 진짜 죽을 것 같다고. 살려달라. 근데 이제 그게 다 내가 만든 울타리였다는 거를 이제 선배님 만나서 알게 되고, 뭐 어떻게 뿅 하고 나오니까 너무 행복한 거지.
전 궁금한 거 있는데 지금 그 한류 때문에 Korean entertainment all over the world has gained so much popularity. I'm wondering, how has that impacted the celebrities, and is that exacerbating the pressure that they're facing?
우리는 어찌 보면은 전부 1등주의예요. 연예계뿐만 아니라 한국 내에서는 어떠한 문제에 크게 다다라요. 그럼 정치인도 마찬가지고 자살을 해버려요.
맞아.
내가 그냥 이병헌이란 배우를 꿈꾸고 윤여정, 또 방탄소년단을 꿈꾼다. 내가 자꾸 누구랑 비교하다 보니까 내 가치가 떨어지는 것처럼 느껴요. 그걸 알려주는 거예요.
네.
But pressure is not the only thing the famous have to put up with. In 2019, mega celebrities Joi Lee and Gu Hara took their lives after suffering years of intense online harassment. Kwon Young-chan has made it his responsibility to also protect his clients from such abuse. Today, he's at the police station to file a complaint for a client.
여기가 고소장.
네.
안녕하세요. 여기 고소장이라고요. 그리고 고소장 진정서요. 이분이 자꾸 전화하고 그래갖고 담당 수사관한테는 전화했거든요. 네, 고맙습니다.
When you file these petitions and claims, how do the police tend to react? Do the police take this seriously?
그러니까 이분들 같은 경우에는 일반적인 악플러 집단하고는 좀 달라요. 그러니까 보통은 한 명이 하거든요. 두 명이. 근데 이분들은 아예 군집처럼 단체적으로 하는 거거든요. 근데 이게 뭐 정부나 뭐 보건당국에서 이게 참 다가서기가 참 애매한 게 이게 개인과 개인의 문제로 생각을 하는 거예요.
And not surprisingly, Kwon Young-chan has also made it his mission to get the internet to behave via his daily social media live streams.
여러분들 행복하고 싶지 않으세요? 그죠? 행복하고 싶잖아요. 그래서 여러분들이 행복하고 싶은 마음이 아마 우리 연예인들도 마찬가지일 거예요. 근데 그게 공격을 받으면 됩니까? 안 됩니까? 네, 안녕하세요.
It all seems like an impossible task, but I have to admire the man's tenacity.
It's clearly a big problem. It's like South Korea has such an intense and hypercharged entertainment industry where the relationship between celebrities and fans are so deeply intertwined. And it's really important for societies to be able to reflect on what is the impact of these entertainment industries, not only on us as societies, but also on the people who are making the industry become alive.
우리 누군가를 괴롭히는 일이 생기면은 언제든지 빠밤 하고 제가 등장을 할 텐데요.
There's no doubt that success in Korea's entertainment industry is a poison chalice. And yet, it's a dream that thousands here continue to pursue. And they're starting younger than ever.
The disbelief isn't going away. I'm like still in shock. So I'm watching this group called Burvy, and it's like 5-member kids group. They're like 10, 11 years old, and it really says like how much K-pop has become such a popular kind of dream of young kids. Wow. I don't know, I just feel like they're too young. I can't help but feel a little bit worried and concerned. You know, to what extent do they have to sacrifice things, and is it worth it?
To understand what a professional kids group like Burvy go through, I head to the agency that manages them. Kids Planet is South Korea's first entertainment agency for children up to the age of 13. It gives kids like Burvy an early taste of stardom and a better chance at becoming full-fledged idols as adults.
Wow. Mind blown.
안녕하세요. 저희는 법을 위한 버라이어티 베이비 버비입니다.
와. 안녕하세요. 저는 조이입니다. 우리 다 앉을까요?
좋아요.
그래서 몇 살이에요?
이제 11살. 저는 13살. 저는 12살. 저도 13살. 12살.
와, 저는 27살이에요. They're all like, she's so old. What is she doing here? 그래서 그 K-pop 스타가 왜 되고 싶어요?
K-pop 스타는 이제 무대 위에서 이제 멋지고 반짝반짝하게 이렇게 딱 무대에 나타나는 그 모습이 너무 뭔가 멋있고 그리고 뭔가 예쁘고 해가지고 이제
TV에서 에이핑크 언니들 봤는데 언니들이 이쁘게 화장하고 옷 입고 노래도 부르고 춤도 추고 하는 게 너무 행복해 보이고 재밌어 보이는데 저도 그렇게 언니들처럼 무대에 서고 싶은데
아, 오케이. 그래서 그 연습 중에 그 제일 좋아하는 그 부분은 뭐예요?
저는 같이 버비 팀들이랑 같이 춤이랑 노래 부르면서
저도 버비들이랑 하는 게 너무너무 재밌고 신나고 좋고
진짜 재밌어요. 그러면 그 제일 그 어려운 부분은 뭐예요?
저희 팀이잖아요. 팀이다 보니까 조금 동선도 힘들고 디테일에서 손끝 하나하나까지 맞추는 게 조금 힘든 것 같아요.
아, 그렇군요.
They may be younger, but the exacting standards of K-pop still apply. And that means performing with laser precision.
일단 채원이가 이게 지금 음악이 맞추면은 이게 안 돼. 약간 내려가거든 이렇게. 그리고 얘나 너 이거 돌아가면서 이렇게 내려가단 말이야. 내려가면 안 돼. 이거 유지야. 다시 해볼게. 여기 하나, 착착착.
혹시 저도 조금 배워도 돼요?
좋아요. 아이들한테요?
네.
네.
I'm about to get schooled. I can already feel it.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
She's like, one more time, she says. Maybe.
Burvy trains for 4 hours after school 2 times a week. And man, is it hard.
Wow, my balance is so off.
5 and 6. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Wow, this is just like one tiny piece in your entire choreography.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Ah, okay. Am I a K-pop star now? Is this it? Good? 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 Yes. 감사합니다. Wow. Now I know how difficult it is to dance. You guys, 진짜 멋있어요. 진짜 멋있어요. 감사합니다.
For now, the kids seem to really enjoy what they're doing. But what happens when they reach 14, when they outgrow their contracts with Kids Planet and have to make it on their own?
When it comes to your kids' dream, their dream is to eventually make it to be a K-pop star, right?
네, 일단은 지금은 그래요.
If your daughters don't make it, what happens then? You know, have you had these conversations with your daughters?
네, 자주 얘기해요. 다 성공할 순 없으니까. 그래도 일단은 지금은 좋아하니까 지금은 꾸준히 가고 있는데
지금 꼭 K-팝 스타가 목적이 아니더라도 지금 연습하고 이렇게 하는 활동하는 게 행복하면 되는 것 같아요.
그럼요. I didn't really expect it to be this fun. You know, I think I was coming from this like perspective of like, oh no, but what about the pressure? Like these kids, they're probably going through so much stress. And then we got here and it was just so fun. And they obviously love doing the things that they're doing. They're dancing and they're training and they're getting to hang out with their friends. But at the same time, this is just step one. If they do end up getting picked up by one of these big K-pop labels, then that's just the beginning of another few years of really intense training.
It concerns me that by starting earlier, these kids are sacrificing more of their lives, all to compete in a cutthroat industry they may be too young to handle. And what's worse, most don't make it. And for those who do, the extreme pressures of the industry can force some of them to leave.
I'm about to meet someone who achieved the dream that so many young Korean girls fantasize about, but decided to walk away from it all. I'm curious to find out why.
예전에는 활동을 했었던 공유진, 보너스 베이비 출신 공유진이라고 소개를 하면 이제는 21살 대학생 공유진입니다.
반가워요.
반갑습니다.
반갑습니다.
Kong Yoo-jin had trained for 6 months before she made her debut with Bonus Baby in 2017. The group's brand of bubble pop found moderate success. But 1 year in, Yoo-jin announced her departure.
What led to your decision to leave the group?
사실 걸그룹을 하게 되면 조건이 되게 많아요. 그리고 제일 중요한 거 다이어트가 엄청 힘들거든요. 뚱뚱한 편이 아니었는데 트레이닝을 받게 되면서 한 42kg까지 뺀 적이 있어요.
Wow. What did your diet look like?
K-팝 아이돌, 여자 아이돌 분들 보면 이렇게 약간 호리호리하고 이런 몸이 많은데 그 몸에 적합하려면 먹질 않아야 되는 거예요. 그래서 저는 하루에 그 아몬드 견과류 6개 정도 세 먹고 막 이런 두유 같은 게 있어요. 요만한 사이즈에. 그런 걸 이제 하루에 먹는 거예요. 아예 굶으면서 빼니까 그 몸이 나오더라고, 그제서야. 그때 엄청 힘들죠. 아, 이렇게 해야 내가 이런 몸이 나와야 되는데 그럼 이렇게 몸이 가벼우면 노래는 어떻게 해야 되고 춤은 어떻게 춰야 되지? 그런적인 부분도 너무 제 멘탈을 지치게 하는 거예요. 그래서 이게 약간 좀 나랑 맞는 건가? 라는 생각을 되게 많이 했던 것 같아요. 다이어트 하면서.
얼마나 힘들었을까요?
이런 생각이 좀 많이 들면서 저를 생각해서 나왔던 것 같아요.
And it's not just grueling diet plans. It's an open secret that K-pop agencies keep the social lives of their talents on a tight leash. Who they meet, who they talk to, are usually kept under close watch, with little care for privacy.
제가 몰랐지만 우울증이랑 공황장애가 있어서 사람을 못 만나겠더라고요. 사람을 못 만나겠으니까 대중교통도 힘들고.
So did you have to go through everything on your own, or did you ever receive any kind of mental health support from anybody else?
저는 할 수 있는 게 이제 멤버들이랑 얘기하고 의지할 수 있는 거. 그거 외로는 딱히 없었던 것 같아요. 그래서 더 힘들고 버텨야 했던 게 더 많고 견뎌야 했던 게 더 많았던 것 같아요.
K-pop trainees are getting younger and younger, you know, some even starting to prepare from the age of like 9 or 10. Having gone through it yourself, you know, how do you feel about that?
저는 너무 마음이 아픈 것 같아요. 정말 하고 싶은 건 당연히 이해가 돼요. 어떤 꿈에 대해서 내가 너무 하고 싶고 어떻게 보면 화면에 비춰진 그런 화려함과 그런 것들 때문에 내가 하고 싶은 어떤 꿈을 가지는 건 정말 좋은데 제가 어릴 때 해본 그런 걸로 봤을 때 사실 너무 마음이 아파요. 뭘 겪어야 되는지 너무 알고 약간 사실 외적인 것도 되게 신경 써야 될 게 많고 뭐 다이어트면 다이어트 정말 자기가 필요하다 싶으면 그런 얼굴도 사실 성형하는 분들도 되게 많잖아요. 근데 그런 거가 이제 K-팝 하고 싶은 아이돌 분들의 어떤 그런 워너비 나이 같은 게 점점 어려지고 있으니까 아 정말 감당할 수 있는 건가? 이런 좀 걱정이 되게 많은 것 같아요.
Yoojin now hopes to carve a career of her own as an independent singer. Few have made it in Korea without entertainment labels to back them. But now with platforms like YouTube, I'd like to believe that Yoojin has a shot.
It's one thing to read about in the media how difficult trainee and debut life might be, but I think it's another to sit across face to face with a human being and for her to tell you that she only ate a handful of almonds. It's a testament to how much this industry requires of the people who keep it running. And so when I see that she got out and she made that decision for herself, said, you know what, this is not for me, it is very refreshing to hear that.
Having grown up as a minority feeling like I had something to prove, I understand Korea's drive to be exceptional at all costs. But its determination to forge a new legacy over the shadow of its past has come with a terrible price. And yet, in my time here, I've also seen its positive influence. It's given Koreans so much pride and so much confidence in the transformative power of their creativity and talent.
As a Korean American, yeah, it makes me really proud to see that. Korea has always been a country that's been overshadowed and colonized by other countries. And to see it be able to step out into the spotlight like this in such a spectacular fashion is frankly amazing to me.